Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
Harry will lobby the Home Secretary for security, with sources saying he's looking to arrange further meetings with the King to allow him to spend more time with his grandchildren.
This really tells 1,000 words, doesn't it? This is, of course, a picture of Princess Lilibet. That is, of course, Harry's daughter. And very nicely, all thanks to his wife, who has a terrible aversion to the world of social media.
The other thing about the Althorp's visit, Dan, is that they're not particularly close with Diana's brother. He did get married in the States, and they were not there.
Meghan Markle takes what should be a solemn and private family moment and exploits it for clicks and money. It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it?
There are moments that make people stop and ask whether something is truly heartfelt or carefully planned. And this became one of those moments. For years, Meghan has kept an unbreakable distance from her own father, refusing visits, avoiding conversations, and never giving him the chance to build a relationship with his grandchildren. Yet, when it came to visiting Princess Diana's memorial, decades after her passing, cameras were reportedly in place. Every angle appeared carefully captured, and the entire moment immediately sparked questions that refused to go away. Then William reportedly made his feelings unmistakably clear, and what many believed was happening suddenly looked even more controversial than anyone expected. Before looking at the memorial visit itself, it's worth remembering why so many people reacted so strongly. This wasn't a story that appeared out of nowhere. It built on years of family tension that people had already been watching unfold. Many couldn't help noticing the sharp contrast.
What about Thomas Markle? Does he not get a look in? If she's so keen, Harry, with his father recovering from cancer and still having treatment, the other side, repair the family connections, however hard it might be. And the Markle family is as
Reports one image shows Harry, Archie, and Lily from behind as they walk down a grassy path lined with trees and hedges. The photo is believed to have been taken at Althorp, the Spencer family's ancestral estate where Diana grew up. Harry and Archie are both seen carrying large bouquets, prompting speculation that the family may have visited Diana's burial site, which is located on an island in the middle of the estate's oval lake. During the family's recent visit to the UK, they stayed at the 13,000-acre Northamptonshire estate as guests of Harry's uncle, Charles Spencer. The trip gave Archie and Lily the opportunity to spend time at a place so closely tied to their late grandmother, who died in a car crash in Paris in 1997 when Harry was 12. While at Althorp, the Sussexes are also believed to have spent time with other members of the Spencer family. Princess Diana's grave is located on a small island in the middle of Althorp's oval lake and is not accessible to the public. Her brother Charles Spencer wrote in his book that its remoteness was intentional, with the lake acting as a buffer against the interventions of the insane and ghoulish, the thick mud, presenting a further line of defence.
Between how Meghan has handled her relationship with her living father and the public attention surrounding Diana's memorial, to critics, the difference was impossible to ignore. And once those photographs surfaced, the debate exploded again with even greater intensity. Let's start with something that's bothered people for years, something many believe reveals the bigger picture. Meghan has a father. His name is Thomas Markle. He's still alive. He has continued trying to reach out, still hoping for contact, still wanting the opportunity to know his grandchildren.
That Prince William's strongly held and deeply passionate view is that this site must remain sacred. Hands posted just when you think Meghan can't be any more despicable, she goes ahead and proves us wrong. Who shares pics of a private moment that looks like they're visiting Diana's gravesite? There's Harry and Archie carrying flowers. Have some respect and keep it private. Disgusting, no shame. The Mail then went on to report that they did believe this to be Althorp, with their diary editor Richard Eden writing, "It is understood to have been taken as they made their way to lay flowers at the grave of Princess Diana." Would now use Charles Spencer's words directly to describe the acts of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. "You too are insane and ghoulish. You too have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place and also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've...
Yet those efforts have reportedly gone unanswered. She hasn't visited him, hasn't brought the children to meet him, and critics argue she has treated him like someone she would rather keep out of public view. The man has repeatedly expressed that he simply wants a basic family connection. Critics say she's made it crystal clear he doesn't fit into the image she wants to present. He's not wealthy enough. He's not influential enough. He's not part of the story she wants people to see. But Diana has been gone for nearly 30 years. She's rested at Althorpe for 3 decades. Then, all of a sudden, Meghan reportedly couldn't get to that memorial quickly enough. Professional photographers were allegedly arranged. The timing appeared carefully coordinated. Every moment seemed deliberately captured. Multiple angles were available.
This is Althorpe. So I didn't catch this at first, but this picture is clearly taken from Althorpe, which is Diana's childhood estate there, confirming that they were in the UK for the naysayers out there. I double-checked.
There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it? This is a woman who's claimed for years that all she wants for her family is privacy, and then she commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see. This, perhaps more than anything else, exposes what a hypocrite and liar Meghan is. It also reveals the disdain she has for her mother-in-law, who is everything she isn't. Probably the last thing in the world Diana saw was the flashes of the camera, and now here is her daughter-in-law trampling on her memory with a camera in tow for her own greed.
It seems a bit odd, in my opinion, that you would want to post a picture like that of a little girl. Of course, what you have to remember is, and this is the difference between these two, seemingly time and time again, they want to make sure to the rest of the world that they're not forgetting Harry's mother. Do not forget also, Harry famously said that he got upset when people could not see the similarities between Diana, the Princess of Wales, and of course the cable TV actress Meghan Markle.
Every pose looked polished, designer clothing stood out, and the entire visit left many people questioning whether anything about it was spontaneous. Charles Spencer, Diana's own brother, didn't hide his opinion. Looking at the photographs, he reportedly said, "This was purely for publicity." Those words didn't come from an online rumor or an anonymous source. They came from Diana's own brother, who viewed the memorial images and concluded they looked less like a private tribute and more like a public relations event centered around his sister's final resting place. What many people found even more striking was the deeper personal connection. William lost his mother. He walked behind her coffin when he was just 15 years old.
The shot of Althorpe is just, it kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit. I mean, obviously there are people in my family who are no longer with us, and I do go visit their graves, and I might take a photo of the gravestone, but I don't know. No, you don't do like the family outing to go see the grave on private property. Not to mention, I think it's really interesting.
He understands genuine grief because he has lived with it every day of his life. He understands what honoring Diana's memory truly means because he has spent decades protecting it. Reports claim that when William learned about the memorial visit, the photographers, the careful planning, and the timing of the images becoming public, his reaction was immediate. There was no hesitation, no careful attempt to balance both perspectives, no diplomatic language. He reportedly agreed with the assessment, saying, "This was purely for publicity." Supporters believe that reaction carried weight because William wasn't speaking as an outside observer. He was speaking as Diana's son, someone who loved her, someone who has spent decades protecting her legacy, and someone who understands what genuine respect for her memory looks like. For many people, that was the voice they had been waiting to hear. It came from someone with a real connection, real authority, and the moral standing to draw that line. The biggest question wasn't simply about one visit. It was about whether years of public statements still matched the actions people were seeing unfold. For a very long time, Meghan and Harry presented a consistent message. They repeatedly said their children's privacy came first. They spoke about shielding their family from relentless media attention. They warned about the dangers of constant publicity and insisted they would never place their children in the spotlight for personal gain. They also described Diana's memory as something deeply sacred, deserving of dignity and lasting respect. That message remained remarkably consistent for years, becoming one of the central themes of their public image. Time after time, the same promises were repeated. Privacy came first. Family protection mattered above everything else. Respecting personal boundaries was presented as a core value. Interviews focused on the pressure of living in the public eye. Official statements emphasized protecting loved ones. Documentaries explained why stepping away from royal life was necessary. Books described media intrusion. Podcasts revisited the emotional impact of constant attention. Through every project, one idea stayed at the center. Privacy was portrayed as the principle guiding every major decision they made. Then photographs from Diana's memorial reportedly became public. That's the moment many critics say everything changed. After years of insisting privacy was their highest priority, they questioned how images connected to such a private family location could end up becoming part of a public conversation. Critics also pointed to another contradiction. They argued you can't repeatedly insist your children should never be used for attention while allowing family moments to become part of highly publicized projects. You can't describe Diana's memory as sacred, while critics believe a visit to her resting place became part of a larger media narrative. To many observers, this wasn't simply an inconsistency. They viewed it as a direct conflict between public statements and public actions. That is why some commentators argue the privacy message was never entirely about privacy itself. They believe it was more about controlling the narrative, deciding exactly what the public would see, when they would see it, and under what circumstances. According to those critics, whenever the attention aligned with larger projects, major interviews, documentaries, or other business opportunities, the emphasis on privacy appeared to become far less absolute. Whether people agree with that interpretation or not, it's a question that continues to fuel debate. That's the part many people still struggle to overlook. It's not only the perceived contradiction itself. Critics argue the choices appeared deliberate rather than accidental. They believe attention was prioritized over privacy and public visibility over the principles that had been emphasized for years. Because of that, many previous statements about protecting family privacy are now viewed by those critics with far greater skepticism than before. Every interview discussing boundaries is now re-examined through that lens. Every statement about protecting the children is questioned again. Critics argue those messages lose credibility if public actions seem to tell a different story. And once public trust begins to disappear, rebuilding it becomes incredibly difficult. Many people simply stop accepting future explanations at face value. Supporters of that criticism also argue this wasn't a spontaneous emotional moment. It wasn't a private family visit where someone casually pulled out a phone. It didn't appear to unfold naturally or unexpectedly. Instead, they believe it looked carefully organized from beginning to end. Professional photographers were reportedly present, with multiple camera positions rather than a single casual snapshot. Different angles appeared to be captured, multiple poses were documented, and every detail, from positioning to lighting, looked intentionally planned, reinforcing the impression that this was a coordinated production rather than an ordinary family moment. Nothing about the images gave the impression of an ordinary family visit. From the framing to the camera placement, every detail appeared carefully considered. The positioning looked intentional, the composition seemed meticulously arranged, and the final photographs carried the polished look people normally associate with a professional photo session rather than a private, personal moment. That polished presentation quickly became one of the biggest talking points surrounding the visit. There is a reason so many people remarked on how consistent every image looked. Each photograph appeared clear, balanced, and publication-ready. The lighting seemed controlled. The angles looked deliberate, and the overall quality stood out immediately. Critics argued that the collection resembled professionally planned promotional photography instead of casual family snapshots captured in the moment. Supporters of that view also point out that a visit like this would not simply happen without preparation. Access to Althorp, Diana's resting place, is private. According to those commentators, security arrangements would have needed to be approved, schedules coordinated, and permissions organized in advance. They argue that planning, logistics, resources, and significant preparation would all have been required long before anyone actually arrived. That's an important distinction they believe often gets overlooked whenever people simply say, "She visited the grave." From that perspective, critics argue the story wasn't merely about paying respects. They believe it involved arranging a professionally photographed visit at a private memorial site, obtaining the necessary access, bringing experienced photographers with professional equipment, and capturing images that could later become part of a broader media project. Whether people agree with that interpretation or not, they say those details change how the event is viewed. To them, it looked less like a quiet visit and more like a carefully managed production. That level of planning is exactly why the discussion has continued. Critics argue this wasn't simply about showing up with family members. They believe the public perception surrounding the visit was managed with remarkable precision. The images appeared natural, but skeptics argue that creating something which feels spontaneous often requires careful preparation behind the scenes. In their view, making a production appear effortless is part of the strategy itself. According to those critics, none of this was accidental. They argue every decision appeared intentional. Every camera position seemed selected in advance. Every photograph appeared designed to communicate a particular message. Every moment looked carefully timed to achieve the strongest possible public impact. For many observers, that's what makes the controversy extend beyond the visit itself. It's not simply that it happened. Critics believe the decisions were made with full awareness of how Diana's family, Prince William, and the public might respond. They argue the contrast with previous statements about privacy would be obvious, yet the visit reportedly moved forward regardless. That is why many continue asking the same questions. Why bring professional photographers? Why make every image look so polished? Why present the occasion in such a carefully managed way? Some commentators have also connected the timing to reports of a Netflix documentary project marking the 30th anniversary of Diana's life and legacy. Those reports remain unconfirmed, but critics speculate that high-quality visual material could be valuable if such a project were underway. They argue premium productions depend on cinematic footage and professionally captured images that meet the standards viewers have come to expect. That's the kind of polished material major streaming productions are typically known for using. What made this situation even more controversial, according to critics, was the belief that Meghan possessed something very few people could ever offer. Through her connection to the royal family, she had access to Diana's resting place, a location tied to one of the most recognizable figures in modern history. Critics argue that this kind of access carries enormous media value, especially if a major documentary project is involved. Reports surrounding a possible 30th anniversary Diana production have fueled even more discussion, with some estimates suggesting the project could generate millions of dollars in revenue. Whether those figures prove accurate or not, many observers believe the financial stakes would be substantial. Critics argue that a project of that scale would easily justify extensive planning. They point to the reported use of professional photographers, advanced coordination, security arrangements, and detailed scheduling as signs that significant preparation took place. According to those commentators, this wasn't the type of visit that simply unfolded naturally. They believe every stage would have required organization, resources, and careful execution before a single photograph was ever taken. Another point repeatedly raised by critics involves the financial side of documentary productions. They argue that participation in commercial projects can include production fees, appearance payments, or other forms of compensation, although the specific details of any agreements have not been publicly confirmed. Because of that possibility, some commentators believe the discussion extends far beyond publicity alone and enters the territory of commercial value. From that perspective, critics argue the controversy isn't simply about attention. They believe the larger issue is the perception that a visit connected to Diana's memorial could ultimately contribute to a commercial production. Whether or not that interpretation is fair remains heavily debated, but those critics say it changes how they view the entire situation. To them, the discussion becomes less about honoring Diana's legacy and more about the possibility of generating revenue through material connected to her memory. Those commentators argue that the financial incentives appear difficult to ignore. They believe any major streaming platform understands the enormous worldwide interest surrounding Diana's story. Reports have suggested that a documentary project has been in development, although neither the production details nor the use of any specific footage have been officially confirmed. Even so, critics continue to speculate that professionally captured images would naturally hold value for a high-end production. According to those observers, both the reported timing and the polished presentation have only fueled additional questions. They believe the visit and the surrounding publicity appeared too coordinated to dismiss as coincidence. Whether that conclusion is correct remains a matter of opinion, but it continues to drive public debate. When royal commentators and other analysts weighed in, many focused on the same central issue. Charles Spencer, Diana's brother, reportedly offered one of the strongest reactions, describing the visit as purely for publicity. That assessment carried particular weight because it came from someone who knew Diana personally and has long been protective of her legacy. Some body language analysts also examined the published images, arguing that the poses appeared deliberate rather than spontaneous. They pointed to posture, positioning, and camera angles as signs of careful preparation, though such interpretations remain subjective. Royal historians and protocol experts likewise noted that royal memorial sites have traditionally been treated as deeply private places, not locations associated with public photo opportunities. Critics argue that this is why the visit stood out so dramatically, with many saying they could not recall another example in modern royal history where a family memorial became the setting for such a highly publicized photographic event. According to commentators who analyzed the images, the level of planning behind the visit appeared far beyond what anyone would expect from an ordinary family moment. One professional photographer reportedly said the overall setup looked unmistakably professional, arguing that a production of this quality simply doesn't happen without careful coordination, advanced preparation, and experienced people working behind the scenes. To those observers, the photographs reflected a structured media production rather than something captured spontaneously in the moment. Beyond the photography itself, another topic has continued to generate debate. For years, critics have pointed to Meghan's repeated references to Princess Diana through fashion choices, public comments, and moments they believe resemble well-known photographs of Diana. Supporters see those similarities as respectful tributes, while critics interpret them very differently. They argue the comparisons have become so frequent that they raise larger questions about how Diana's public image continues to be presented. From that perspective, critics argue this was about more than simply visiting a memorial. They believe it reflected a long-running pattern of drawing comparisons with Diana that has developed over many years. Whether people agree with that interpretation or not, it remains one of the most discussed aspects of the wider story. Reports have also claimed that Prince Harry has expressed concerns about how often those comparisons arise, although those reports have not been independently confirmed. Commentators who support that view argue the memorial visit wasn't the beginning of the discussion. It represented what they see as the latest chapter in a much longer public pattern. They point to years of similar fashion choices, familiar poses, repeated references to Diana, and ongoing public comparisons that have fueled debate for a long time. That is why many observers say the reaction extended well beyond social media commentary. Various commentators, royal historians, body language analysts, and protocol specialists all weighed in with their own perspectives. While they did not all agree on every detail, many argued the visit crossed a line they believed should have remained untouched because of the unique significance of Diana's resting place. Critics frequently summarized their view with the same conclusion: this crosses a fundamental line. Supporters of that criticism argue the response wasn't driven by internet outrage alone. They believe it reflected concerns that had been building for years and finally reached a breaking point. To them, the controversy wasn't simply another headline that would disappear after a few days. They argue it became part of a much broader discussion about public image, personal boundaries, and respect for historical family sites. Reports have also suggested that Prince William voiced strong concerns, while other reports claim King Charles has been taking the situation seriously behind the scenes. Those claims remain unverified, but commentators speculate that discussions within royal circles could involve legal advisors and senior palace officials if future commercial projects were to include material connected to Diana's memorial. They emphasize that no official decision has been announced. Some reports have even suggested that questions surrounding royal titles could arise if future projects create additional controversy, although no such action has been publicly confirmed. At the same time, commentators speculate that Netflix would be aware of the sensitivity surrounding any material connected to Diana's legacy. As a result, they argue uncertainty continues to surround the reported documentary project, with ongoing speculation that delays or significant changes could affect any financial expectations that may have been attached to it, including the widely discussed reports of a potential $7 million payday. What many people believe makes this situation different is that it appears to have moved beyond online criticism into something much bigger. Instead of being driven only by headlines or social media debate, commentators argue this has become a matter involving institutions capable of making decisions that could affect future opportunities. They say moments like this remind public figures that influence has limits. There are boundaries that many believe cannot be crossed without consequences. Critics argue this is no longer about temporary internet backlash, but about accountability that can affect reputations, business opportunities, public standing, and future prospects. That, they say, is what separates this controversy from earlier ones. In previous situations, Harry and Meghan appeared to weather criticism relatively well. Netflix continued working with them. Sponsors remained supportive, and public attention eventually shifted elsewhere. This time, however, commentators believe the situation feels different because reports suggest senior royal figures have taken the matter seriously behind the scenes. Supporters of that view argue Prince William's reported position carries particular weight because he has long been seen as a protector of Diana's legacy. Reports have also claimed King Charles has been actively involved, although many of those claims remain unverified. Even so, critics believe the perception of a united royal response has changed the conversation. Speculation surrounding the reported documentary has added even more attention. Reports continue to suggest delays, possible revisions, and uncertainty surrounding future projects, though no official announcement has confirmed the final outcome. Whether those reports prove accurate or not, many observers believe the controversy has already affected public perception. For many people, however, the debate extends beyond Harry and Meghan. Critics argue it raises broader questions about consistency and public values. If privacy is presented as a guiding principle, they ask whether it should apply in every situation. If family memories are described as deeply personal, they question whether those moments should ever become part of commercial projects. Critics also point to the contrast between family relationships and public symbolism. They argue that when someone appears distant from a living parent, while publicly embracing the legacy of another family member, difficult questions naturally follow. Whether that interpretation is fair remains a matter of opinion, but it has become a central part of the discussion. At the heart of the debate is Princess Diana herself. She was a real person whose life and death continue to carry enormous emotional meaning for millions around the world. Her resting place is viewed by many as sacred ground, deserving dignity and respect. Her brother has spoken strongly about protecting her memory, and Prince William has spent years honoring her legacy. Ultimately, many observers believe the biggest issue is not simply one visit or one collection of photographs. They argue it is about whether certain places, memories, and family moments should remain beyond commercial debate. That is the larger question many believe this controversy has raised: whether anything is truly sacred anymore, whether boundaries still matter when money is involved, and whether long-standing institutional values continue to mean anything once commercial interests enter the picture. This time, many observers believe the situation feels different from controversies that came before. Previous generations may have chosen to let similar issues fade quietly or handle them behind closed doors. Critics argue Prince William's focus has been on protecting Diana's legacy rather than defending Harry and Meghan. Reports have also suggested King Charles has taken the matter seriously, leading many to believe the family's priority is preserving Diana's memory instead of shielding relatives from criticism. That is why so many people feel something may have changed. The reality, however, is that no one knows exactly what comes next. It remains unclear whether the reported Netflix project will move forward unchanged, be delayed, be revised, or never happen at all. Reports about possible consequences, including discussions surrounding royal titles, also remain unconfirmed. History shows the royal family has often preferred to manage difficult situations quietly while waiting for public attention to move elsewhere. Many commentators acknowledge that pattern. At the same time, they argue this situation feels different because Prince William has reportedly made his position clearer than ever, while King Charles is widely believed to be taking the issue seriously behind the scenes. Even so, the outcome remains uncertain. Perhaps future projects will continue as planned. Perhaps public attention will shift to something else. Or perhaps this controversy will leave a lasting impact. At this stage, no one can say for certain. What is clear is that the debate itself has already become part of the public record. People have formed their opinions, the discussion continues, and questions about privacy, family, respect, and accountability remain at the center of the story. The real question now isn't simply whether it happened, it's whether any lasting lessons come from it, whether accountability truly matters, or whether commercial interests once again outweigh everything else. That is the bigger conversation many people will continue watching in the months ahead. What do you think? Was this a turning point, or will everything eventually return to normal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next update. Thanks for watching.